Welcome to Buckeyes Tomorrow Morning for Friday, June 2nd. I'm your host, Tom Orr. The Indiana game is in 92 days. The game against Michigan in 176 days. On yesterday's show, you got a chance to hear from Brian Hartline, Ohio State's offensive coordinator. Well, guess what? On today's show, you're going to be hearing from Jim Knowles, Ohio State's defensive coordinator. Now, he made a little bit of an unexpected cameo appearance on Wednesday's show. Today, you're going to be hearing from him and not just seeing him. Let's start with the topic everyone wants to talk about. I know what you guys want to talk about. I know what you guys want to hear about. You want to hear about the young guys who might start making a real impact this year, especially 5 stars, CJ Hicks and Sonny Styles. So, okay, guess what? You're going to be hearing a whole bunch about those guys today. So let's talk first about Sonny Styles. What did Jim Knowles learn from all the experimentation he did moving Sonny Styles around the field this spring?
You know, I learned that Sonny can handle a lot. He's, more adept at playing in a high safety position than you would think for a bigger guy. Most of the time last year we had him at the line of scrimmage or close to the line of scrimmage. So, we've come up with a dual plan for him where he'll be able to compete at a high safety position, because I think we're going to need him there. But he'll have a package where certainly he's down close to the line of scrimmage and able to blitz and do some things in the run game and pass game for us.
Styles is someone who has long been viewed as potentially a combination of a safety and a linebacker, so, the fact that he can play strong safety, not a real big surprise. But when did Knowles figure out that Sonny Styles might be able to handle being in that deep safety spot too?
I think it takes all spring, to really put him in those positions where he's going to be challenged cover-wise, and in some matchups. And, he did well. So I think he's a real versatile player. And he showed me a lot since he's been here, but he's ready to play.
Now, this one was really interesting. The question that was asked was whether Sonny could handle both the adjuster and bandit safety spots. And we just talked about, okay, yeah, sure, he can do those. But the longer Jim Knowles talks, the more you think he could play kind of just about anywhere.
Yeah, I think he will. I think he will, because we'll need it. And he's repped at all three. We like him in that nickel position, but of course when he's in there, it's almost like a strong safety. You know what I mean? So you adapt what he does best, to the defense and what I call when he's in there, if he's in at a nickel. But we tried to put him in some challenging positions too, just to see how he would hold up with a lot of the things that a nickel has to do. And he did well. So I think really the sky's the limit with Sonny. And we'll keep working. I'll keep working over the summer to really define, the things that he does best.
A quick update on health for Ohio State's linebackers, Tommy Eichenberg and Steele Chambers, both back to 100%. Those guys missed sort of the last part of the spring or the whole spring. At one point, Jim Knowles called Tommy Eichenberg Tommy No Thumbs because he had broken both thumbs at one point last year. That was pretty funny. But while those guys were out this spring, it was a huge opportunity for younger guys like CJ Hicks and Gabe Powers to get more reps. So what did Knowles see out of those guys this spring?
Yeah, they made a lot of progress, Gabe had a good spring game, and I thought really came on at the end. CJ is a guy who, I'm predicting sometime this season we're going to see him really unleash. And the good thing is he's not pressed into service because of the veterans in front of him, and I think that's helped him to be able to play more relaxed. But at some point this year, we'll be able to see CJ's athletic ability. I think he's just, on the cusp of breaking out.
At one point on Tuesday, Mickey Marotti mentioned CJ Hicks as a guy who had really matured over the span of the last year. So How has Knowles seen that play out in the field and in the meeting room?
Well, you see it in everything. I mean, you just see it in how he learns, how he's able to articulate the defense and his assignment, how he does across the board in the classroom and just being on time, being not just being present at the workouts, but being a leader. So he's had a really good off season.
You may have heard Knowles use the word unleashed with regard to CJ Hicks earlier. That probably has a few people a little bit excited. But with veterans like Eichenberg and Shavers ahead of him, what is that actually going to look like this fall? What will it look like to let CJ Hicks off the leash? Is that just in the second half of games where the score is real lopsided, or maybe something more than that?
Absolutely. I think that is up to me. It's a great question because it's up to me to find some time, some things that he can do, in the jack type of game, and also in those situations where we have the opportunity for him to play, whether that's through a rotation, me just saying, hey, I'm going to get him in every so often, because to move along a guy's progression, he's got to get placed. So it's either me defining a role for him within the game plan, creating a substitution where I know I'm going to put him in no matter what or what the score is, or those situations like you said where it's a second half situation and he can really play a lot.
When you're trying to figure out what kind of a role a young guy can maybe take on, and as his role continues to sort of expand in his second season, what is the process like to figure out how to use a guy as young but talented as CJ Hicks?
It's really from now, right? I'm back off the road from now until the season starts. Constantly tinkering and looking at things and how much could he handle that's outside of a normal will linebacker position. And then it's in my thought process thinking about a season long, and then forcing myself to actually write down on paper, in the first half of the season, I want to make sure he gets X amount of points, because that'll move him along.
So, that's how he gets on the field maybe a little bit now this year. So what if he gets that opportunity and then really takes advantage of it? What happens next?
More plays, more plays. I think that always, it reflects, we have to have confidence in our game based on practice, right? Because we don't have many games. It's not like another sport where you can have exhibition games. So you have to have confidence based on practice. So if a guy shows you things in practice, then you give him an opportunity in the game, and if he shows you things in the game, you give him more opportunities. Yeah. That's it. It's that easy.
Between CJ Hicks and Mitchell Melton, he sounds like he's ready to reintroduce the jack position. So how much of that can be done in the film room and doesn't have to wait for fall camp? Because you got to remember, they didn't do anything with the jack this spring, and those guys are both pretty much new to the position.
A lot, tons, right? Because that's a position when fully developed where that guy knows everything about the defense and everything about the call. So a lot of that is one-on-one time with me and that player or those two players, so that when it wants to go on the defense, even if there are other guys that aren't quite 100% comfortable, that guy has a full command of it, and he's kind of running around making the calls.
If you have been on Twitter or basically anywhere online, you will see Ohio State fans hopefully pointing to the trend of Knowles' defense at Oklahoma State, because they started not particularly good, got better, and then after a few years were really pretty dominant. So that's true by the numbers, but was that a real thing that he really saw and felt when he was at Oklahoma State? And if so, why did that happen?
Yeah, I felt it. I think it is less about me implementing more, although it's always there, right? And it's just a little bit of an injection here or there as they can handle it to get it up, but it's more about how the players understand, so that you want everyone on the defense to know what everyone else does. You want everyone to know where the ball is going to end up. When I make a call based on the play the offense runs, the ball is going to go here. I mean, that's as simple as it gets. It looks more complicated, but if you know, because every defense has I don't want a hole or an escape hatch or some part of it in it. So that's how they get better. And I think with like a guy like Tommy, take Tommy for example, you saw that accelerated, right? Because he was a guy who really picked it up. I use the word Gretzky all the time. Right? You probably heard me say it, but I keep saying it because it's, hey, Wayne Gretzky, why are you such a great goal scorer? It's because I didn't go where the puck was. I went where it was going to be. So Tommy figured it out a little more quickly, maybe some other guys, that if I made this call and they ran this play, the ball was going to end up over here. So that's how you play fast. So when you get 11 guys who can do that, that's how you get better.
Well, just want to give you a quick heads up. These shows are going to look a little different starting on Monday. We have a few guest hosts stepping in just for a little bit. Nothing permanent. Don't worry, I'll be back. It's fine. Just want to sort of figure out if guys on the staff can figure out how to Google how many days there are before certain key dates in Ohio State football this fall. So you'll have a few different hosts for this show for the next few days, next week or so. But don't worry, yes, I will in fact be back at some point. And Tony Gerderman and I have recorded some Buckeye Weekly episodes already, so you'll have your normal Buckeye Weekly service next week as well. So lots of content still coming your way. We are now in June, which means official visits are starting. We are now in June, which means camps starting. It's going to be a very, very busy week and a great place to spend that week and the next month and the next year is BuckeyeHuddle.com. We'll have a whole bunch of we've got a whole bunch of great coverage coming this month. Very busy time in the recruiting calendar. Boy, and it's hard to believe, but media days in Indianapolis, the official sort of official unofficial start to the season, well, those are only about a month and a half away. So we are ramping up to college football season already at BuckeyeHuddle.com, and we sure wish you would be there with us. We have a fantastic team of insiders, Kevin and Tony and I covering the team, Mark and Alex covering recruiting, Justin, Devin, Ross, Mikey, all covering X's and O's, talking scheme, making you a smarter football fan, plus a fantastic community, very fun message board, all at BuckeyeHuddle.com. Great inside information you're just not going to get anywhere else. So if your membership might be coming up at another site, well, maybe think about making the switch. Come on over, join us at BuckeyeHuddle.com. That will do it for today. Thank you guys all for joining us. Have a great weekend. You'll be in good hands next week.